and Sheriff Mike Smith. We also have with us Utah DPS Commissioner Bo Mason, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, FBI Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there's been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well, and I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, Oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow. And a third unfired casing read, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who has worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great, and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country. And violence is tragic everywhere. And every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire. There was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes. Because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with words I share often from a friend and author, Yuval Levin, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country. And he said, I'm not optimistic. He said, I hate optimism. Like, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. And he said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so. I still believe in our country. And I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Governor, can you please speak to whether the suspect is speaking with authorities and his demeanor, Tyler Robinson, when he turned himself in?
I cannot speak to that right now.
Governor, how do you interpret the engravings on casing?
Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not. And by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. That's I think that speaks for itself.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating.
Please.
Talked about this level of hatred that this person expressed in the dinner. Beyond that, is there anything in your view that you discovered that may have radicalized or changed him to prompt him to commit such a horrific?
There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests.
Do you believe he acted alone?
Yes, but the investigation is ongoing.
How he came into custody of police and where he is right now, Mr. Robinson?
Yes, so right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, I'll go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So how we obtained the gun was found here. So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County.
Is he talking with authorities and did he discuss a motive?
I'm sorry? We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released. Yes.
Is he talking with authorities and did he discuss a motive?
I can't answer that right now. Yeah, thank you. Over here.
Very eloquently about trying to reunite this country. Do you feel that this is a watershed in American history?
I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is, what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s. And having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets, we are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. Had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together, the Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there. This is our moment. Do we escalate, or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here.
Could we clarify that the release of those enhanced images at 8 p.m., the timeline that Director Patel gave us, led to the arrest at 10 p.m.? Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
One more thing, Governor. Could you just clarify the clothing issue you mentioned earlier? Was he changing outfits?
Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes.
Suspect was from Utah. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about where, and was he a student here at this university, and is there any history of mental illness?
Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state. Thank you, everyone, for your great work in getting this information out. I would just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that. Basically, we have 3 days for charging documents to be filed. A CI will be filed. We'll have more information then, more detailed information, as those charging documents are filed in preparation for a preliminary hearing. So 3 days. So we would anticipate then that early next week those charging documents will be filed. We will obviously be working. The county attorney will be working very closely with Mr. Kirk's family as those documents and decisions are prepared and made. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, let me have it. I'll be brutally frank. I was quite underwhelmed by that, and I think the governor, now's time that we don't need a campaign speech and certainly don't need happy talk. So many unanswered questions, and I do not understand why law enforcement did not step up to the microphone and give some details. Some details, instead of glazing each other about this partnership and we're all great, we did a great job. Correct me if I'm wrong. We watched the 9-minute press conference yesterday, and the pictures that came up and went all over the internet, and it appears the kid had said something to the family had just confronted him, and the family turned him in. I'm not seeing the great law enforcement work, and I'm not, saying there's not great law enforcement. They all came together. I got that. But this was not through law enforcement work. There's actually a report out there that maybe the FBI have been tipped off about somebody up on the roof, during the week. I don't know if that's accurate. We're trying to check it out. But we don't need a governor, a political figure, to step up. A governor is also known to be, I think, particularly obnoxious. Remember, he's totally woke. He was all into the transgender thing. This guy's completely woke. We don't need a governor to step up and give us basically a political pep talk and a rally, and let's just all come together. When you have an Antifa, you get details in here about the theme song for Antifa on the bullet. You got the symbology that Antifa uses all the time. You clearly have a young, progressive, left-wing hater that assassinated Charlie Kirk in cold blood. What I want to see is some law enforcement people step up to the microphone, give some details, and take some questions from the media. I don't know why Cash flew out there, thousands of miles to give us, hey, working partnerships and our great partnership in Utah. Okay, I got that. No offense to the law enforcement guys in the future of this. The public assumes that you're working together as partnerships. There's certain assumptions when you walk to the microphone of information. We don't need time and time and time again. I tell my team, when these press conferences are scheduled, I don't know if I need to be for the first 10 minutes because it's just going to be some all group thing about how great we are. Charlie Kirk was assassinated in cold blood by a left-wing Antifa affiliated or Antifa aligned person. Okay, we want to find out about him. We want more details about him. And correct me if I'm wrong. Matt Bowles here. We're going to get Poso by phone. In the Discord channel, the guy said there's nobody. We're not looking for anybody. There's nobody here. Yo, I think he's got at least one accessory. Maybe the roommate. I mean, who is in the Discord channel? They're talking about the gun and retrieving the gun. I would assume that person has some knowledge of a crime. And has some knowledge of a crime right immediately after the shot was fired. And I don't remember, no one's come forward and said, that guy came forward and said, hey, I think my roommate just shot Charlie Kirk. This is why people get so frustrated. And no, Governor, no. We're not going to have a group hug and sit down with Democrats. They are targeting conservatives. They're targeting leaders. Charlie Kirk's not replaceable. The group of Turning Point with Tyler and Andrew and the other great team that Charlie's built, they will go on and they're going to do great things and probably greater things they've done before. But a Charlie Kirk's like an Andrew Breitbart. These individuals come along once a generation, right? They're not everyday people. And they targeted this guy. They targeted him. The family said right there, Matt Boyle. And look, I'm just sick and tired of law enforcement with all the resources we put into it to come up and say, we're working in partnerships, we're great, we're communicating. The public assumes that is happening. We should get to the chase, cut to the chase, and give the public content about exactly what happened, the timeline of how the guy turned himself in, about the family, about more details, and about accessories to the crime in the Discord channel, and go into and have a governor up there that has no earthly idea about Antifa, doesn't want to matter. We had the FBI director. Could we not get up there and talk about what this symbology means? Because the left is not going to get off the hook in this. All these reports coming, what do you mean we're a war banner? What are you talking about this? They assassinated Charlie Kirk in cold blood in a targeted exercise that took planning. And now we're going to sit here and let's have some groups. Let's get together and have a group hug. They take out Charlie Kirk and let's just sit down and have a group hug. Let's have Antifa over for a barbecue this afternoon. How about that? Antifa, can you Charlie, the gentlest and nicest individual in this political world, who would sit there with a microphone and say, I can convince you through ideas. I can convince you through the force of my argument. Not violence and anything. He was the happy warrior. That's who they took out. Who could be more accommodating than Charlie Kirk? Who could be nicer than Charlie Kirk? Who could be more accessible than Charlie Kirk? That's why they murdered him. In cold blood, assassination, and this was an execution. And now you get the symbology of this, and we're just going to have this press conference, and okay, fine, and let's go. It's time to us to bring the unity together. No, they always want the unity after they do something horrific. Well, they ain't getting unity. And there shouldn't be unity. We should get answers on this to drill down with people that know it and present to the public exactly what his affiliations were, who he talked to, and round up the accessories. And now more than ever, I don't know why we're not putting down Antifa, at least, at minimum. Matt Boyle, your thoughts on, I thought was very frustrating, and once again, just nothing more than glazing.
Well, look, I will say that we did learn some new facts during this, but other than that, sorry, it's not a time for kumbaya, right? The fact is that you still have people throughout the Democrat Party. We reported last night at Breitbart, there was a staffer on Capitol Hill who works for Congressman Andre Carson, who was out there repeating the lies that Charlie Kirk is somehow a Nazi or a racist or something like that, right? Again, we need to, for there to be unity, for there to be a kumbaya moment, we need to hear from the leaders of the Democrat Party that this has to stop. This is what I was saying before the press conference there, is that we need to hear from Barack Obama. He's the closest thing that we have to the leader of the Democrat Party. They don't have a leader as a party right now. They're a leaderless party, and they have been for a long time. But But the fact is that they've been encouraging this type of behavior for a long time now through the systemic, repeated narrative building. And again, they're accomplices across the establishment media that have been accusing people like us of being Nazis and racists and so on and so forth falsely. It's a narrative that they've been pushing. David Korn from Mother Jones Magazine did it in a story last night. Right, like after Charlie was killed, he comes out and does all the obligatory, it should be condemned, it should be bad, but he was a racist and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, what is wrong with these people? No, we need to hear from the leaders of the day. Where is Hakeem Jeffries? Right? Okay. Where is Chuck
I'm going to give you a newsflash. I'm going to give you a newsflash. Number one,
rhetorical questions.
This is one of the. I got it. I can answer your rhetorical question. It's not going to happen because they think it's a winning strategy. That's why Obama's not going to do it. Also, as you know, the Democratic Party are just a handful of feckless clowns. It's the Soros money. It's the Act Blue money. It's the dark money that finances much of this from foreign sources. President Trump said today, we'll pull that clip on Fox and Friends when he gave the live interview. He talked about there's a RICO. They're beginning a RICO investigation of Soros. What we have to do is get to the groups that fund Antifa, get to the groups that fund this radical trans ideology. This is what has to happen. We can't play patty cake. We're not going to be a group hug. We're not interested in a hug. We're interested in action. And that action, using the law, and this is why I would wanted to have the law enforcement guys up here today with details and to talk about this and the ongoing investigation, and not have the governor to sit there like it's an open and shut case. It's one random kid from Utah that climbed on a roof. Anyway, Matt, can you hang on for 1 second? I know you got tons to do over at Breitbart. I need to hold you. I've got Jack Posobiec coming up, Alex Jones in a little while. We just had the presser, Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, a native of Utah, turned in by his parents last night, or convinced to turn himself in the 1 o'clock in the morning. There's his shot right there. That is the face of left-wing evil right in front of you folks, left-wing evil. You want to do a group hug? You feeling like a hug this morning? We ain't going to get one in the war room. That's for sure. Short break. Matt Boyle, Jack Posobiec, Alex Jones next.
We rejoice when there's no more. Let's take down the CCP.
Yikes. Leaky refrigerator coil card.
Oh no.
But your future is bright with an American Home Shield warranty to protect your covered home system. Don't worry, be warranty.
What's up, America? The folks sitting with me here today are real-life mechanics. We're here to get to the bottom of why car repairs are so expensive and why CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company. Let's get to it. How long you been a mechanic?
I've been doing this for about 30 years. Every day's a different experience. Every day's a different adventure. I like to make sure everybody's happy, the customer's happy, the car's done right.
So why are vehicles out of warranty more likely to break down?
The manufacturers are very smart. They designed these cars with an end of life. It will fail as the warranty expires. Say over 60,000 miles, it'll start breaking down.
They're going to break down, definitely. Just a matter of when.
When somebody has CarShield, what's the experience when they come to you?
You drop off your car, we verify your concern, we notify CarShield, usually get an instant approval, put you in a rental car, and get you back on the road as quick as possible. I show them what it would cost if they didn't have CarShield versus if they did, and they can't believe how many thousands of dollars they're saving on this repair and how easy it went through, and the deductible is pretty much all they have to worry about.
How has being a mechanic changed since you guys started?
Most challenging parts about being a mechanic is keeping up with technology these days. That's the hardest part. As these new cars come out, it's new software, new tooling, is a constant evolution.
Technology has totally changed from just the basic, everybody could fix a car 30 years ago, to today. You need so much education, background, computer knowledge.
And there you have it. No other company protects drivers like CarShield. The bottom line is, if you're driving an out-of-warranty car, you could be putting yourself at risk of paying thousands for car repairs. Call CarShield before a breakdown happens.
Get covered repairs paid. Call CarShield now for your free quote and to lock in your rate with their price lock guarantee. Call now. Call 800-202-9188. 800-202-9188. 800-202-9188.
Thinking about long-term care? Think AMAC. Rosemark Advisors, the financial division of AMAC, specializes in alternative solutions for long-term care planning. We help AMAC members prepare for future healthcare needs without compromising their retirement goals or financial security. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization. So when it comes to long-term care and so much more, think AMAC.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital O-W-O, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Okay, Matt Bowles with us, Breitbart, the national political editor, and Jack Posobiec joins us now by phone. Jack, you are probably one of the top Antifa experts in the country. Obviously, they didn't have anybody at the microphone, and they had the governor reading this. For what reason, I don't know, instead of law enforcement. Let's go through, first off, let's take the symbology first. You're the best on this. What is this symbology of Oh Bella Chow, the song, the symbology, the arrows, all of that? What does that lead us to believe, sir?
Well, Steve, first of all, just obviously thank you to, if it is true that the father who turned his son in, obviously America is grateful for this. Obviously, everyone I'm talking to is very grateful for this. Obviously, a terrible act that no father should ever have to do. Steve, when you talk about this symbology, I've written several books about these subjects. These are very familiar symbols within Antifa and the worldwide left-wing Antifa subculture. Things like "Hey Fascist, Catch," obvious on its face. Things like the song Bella Ciao, which grew out of anti-fascist movements in Italy during World War II, became popularized by Italian communists, and then has grown at this point to be something of a worldwide left-wing Antifa anthem. Of course, Bella Ciao. It's a popular song in its own right, I want to be clear, but it's also very, very heavily favored by Antifa groups. Now, some of the other messaging in here, this is directly related to other online subcultures, which typically have and can have overlap with Antifa subcultures, which is also an online phenomenon largely, which then bleeds over into reality in numerous instances, and it appears that this is one of them, unfortunately. where the very sexual writing is being used, where these types of sexualities, these ideas of gender fluidity, furry culture, LGBT culture, they are popularized on places like Reddit and Tumblr, which I've written about extensively at Human Events Daily, and then also kind of feed into these online cultures. And the fact that he was a Discord user also kind of lends a sense to the profile that seems to be being built here.
Explain to people then, we're going to go to Discord right now. Explain to people what Discord is and who uses it, sir.
Well, look, Discord, first and foremost, is a platform for communication during online video games. And I certainly don't want to sit here and say that using Discord is going to cause someone to use this type of activity. It just points to somebody who is a heavy internet user, someone who is spending a lot of time online. And typically these are things that you see among that population group, among Gen Z particularly, but lots of other generations use it as well. But also on Discord, it's a place where these subgroups, the ones that I was just kind of delineating, furries, LGBT types, Antifa types, can use to be able to have generally unmonitored conversations, because the Discord platform itself is private. It's not something that it's open like Twitter or Facebook.
Jack, hang on for 1 second. Just stick with me. I know you're getting ready for the 12 o'clock show. Matt Bull, I want to go to the Antifa before we get to the roommate and accessories and all that. Let's your thoughts about the Symbology, which clearly people behind the microphone knew about but didn't come forward and say anything. Let the governor, who's clueless, talk about it. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, well, again, we need to hear from law enforcement more about this. And frankly, I think we've heard more from President Trump about this stuff in the last couple of days, with the video he did the other night when this first happened, and then later in this Fox and Friends interview, et cetera. I think we need to hear from our Justice Department friends, from the FBI, et cetera, about what they're doing to do something about this radical ideology that is infecting our country and young people. It's in particular, right? Like, so we need to see action. Congress should maybe convene a special panel about this.
Well, hang on. Just stick Matt Bowles with us. He's going to have to bounce. We're going to take a short commercial break. Post-so, I got a recommendation. How about they were good kicking down doors of traditional Catholics and MAGA folks? How about this? How about go kick down some doors today in Antifa? You know where they are. Let's start rounding them up. Let's round them up today. You're such tough guys on traditional Catholics. You're tough guys on MAGA. You're tough guys on 70-year-old grandmothers that are praying the rosary outside of abortion centers. Hey, tough guys, why don't you step up to the frickin' microphone and tell us exactly who these radicals are and go kick down some doors and let's see people in handcuffs this afternoon. No, Governor, we're not going to have a group hug. You go have a group hug. We ain't going to have a group hug. No need for a hug. We're at war. Short break. Boyle, Posobiec, Alex Jones next in the Word.
Poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Friday, 12 September, year of our Lord 2025, just had a press conference or a press avail or a campaign speech by the governor of Utah about what's going on. We didn't get a lot of details. Matt Boyle, I know you got to bounce. You got things to do as national political editor at Breitbart. Any closing thoughts? And by the way, I 100% agree. You called Obama out. You know, where are all the Democrats? Where's Hakeem Jeffries? Where's Obama? You know, why don't they be like the governor? Why don't they call their own guys out and come out and ask us for a group hug? We ain't going to hug, but they, you know, why don't they act like Cox, right, and say everybody should have a group hug this afternoon? Matt Boyle.
Yeah. This is not a time for kumbaya. This is a time to treat Antifa like we treated communism in the mid-20th century, like we treated radical Islamic terrorism in the aftermath of the 9/11. You know, fitting that this is all happening, I guess, around 9/11, right? Like yesterday, the anniversary. But the fact is that we need to crush the ideology of Antifa, right? Like, and that means that we need congressional leaders, we need our law enforcement leaders, we need our governmental leaders, and our cultural and political leaders to actually do something about this. And we need to aggressively go after the people that are spreading this. That means, you know, there need to be like, you know, Watergate-like commissions on this. Like there needs to be, you know, like the McCarthy hearings going after communists, right? Like I think that we are at this whole idea of kumbaya. No, we can't do kumbaya with these people. They're literally shooting people. And they're justifying it by calling us falsely Nazis, right? Like this needs to stop. It needs to stop now. And anybody that on the Democrat side, you know, again, I saw David Axelrod out there saying, "Oh, the right it wants a war." Well, no, the left is the ones who declared war on us, right? Like they're the ones out there calling people Nazis. They're the ones out there, and they're still doing it right now after they killed Charlie. Right, like so.
Because they know it. First off, stop, Matt. They're doing it because it's working, and nobody's stopping them. Of course, they're going to do it. They'd be idiots not to do it. Right. This is we're heading towards a civil war. They just gunned down one of the most gentle, spiritual, applied Christianity. Good men in this country, one of the few leaders in this country that you can say is actually a super solid guy that always said, let's debate it out, let's talk it out. Remember what Posobiec told us, you bring them to the front of the line, the ones that disagreed, they shot him like a dog in cold blood, okay? And now they're cheering about it, and they got their Antifa guy, and you see that press conference right there, you know what I'm saying? If I'm one of these demons, hey, we're winning, let's do a couple, three more. Yeah, what I got is Cox, is that what you're giving me? I got the FBI. I got all the law enforcement glazing each other, telling me, "Hey, I got my partnership. You're great." I am so sick of these press conferences starting about they're jerking each other off with, oh, hey, we're great partners. This is a great partnership. The partners. The only partner I didn't hear called out was Palantir. Yeah. Matt Boyle, where's your social media, brother? You're fantastic. You're a warrior.
Yeah. And it's at mboyle1 on Twitter, X. And the last thing I would just say here, Steve, is there's one thing he said, the governor said, that was right, which was that this feels like the late 1960s, right? It feels like the 1960s after MLK was assassinated, JFK was assassinated. And again, we're in a dark time as a country, so we have a very challenging moment ahead, and we've got to actually confront these people in this radical, hateful ideology.
Hang on. Here's where in a dark time in the country. A good and decent man like Charlie Kirk going to a relatively conservative university in one of the most conservative states in this union, in Utah, with a state that almost looks like sometimes it's a Disney set, that they're so gentle and so nice, right? Charlie Kirk is assassinated. Excuse me. He's executed in cold blood, okay? And you got the government. I understand we're in a dark time. We're not in a dark time because of our side. Our side is trying to bring order out of this chaos. We're in a dark time because the forces of chaos, the forces of evil, demons, that guy who thinks he can win by getting up on a roof and gunning down a good and decent man in front of thousands of people on global television, they know they're winning by doing that. This is only going to stop when we make it stop. Your group hugs and all you're just being led to slaughter. Yes. Cox is just he's the false guy that just leads the lambs to slaughter. Is that what you want? Well, guess what? Hey, in the war room, we ain't going to be led to slaughter. It's not going to happen. We're going to fight back with every ounce we got in our body. Matt Boyle, you're amazing. One more time, where do they go to get all your great writing at Breitbart?
Yeah, just go to Breitbart.com. Our whole team is working around the clock. My ex Twitter is at mboyle1 and True Social at RealMattBoyle.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Jack, I know you got to go to get ready for the 12 o'clock show. You're sitting in with the Charlie Kirk team for the Charlie Kirk show. We will toss to you at noon. Any closing thoughts, sir?
Steve, I said this on Laura last night. We need justice for Charlie Kirk. This will not stop until it's stopped. I've written as much as I can about this. I've explained who these people are, the connections to the profile, Mangione, Thomas Matthew Crooks. They are not going to stop. There will be more assassinations, and I don't want to have more friends put into boxes because people didn't want to step up and do what needed to be done.
Jack Posobiec, your social media, you are the Associated Press of the MAGA movement. Where do people go?
We're up at Jack Posobiec, Human Events Daily. We'll be doing we're getting all the guys together for Charlie here at noon, and we'll be doing a full show for him.
Fantastic. The Charlie Kirk Show will follow the War Room at 12 noon. Jack Posobiec, Andrew, Tyler Boyer, Andrew Colvette, all of them, the whole team. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. I want to make sure the audience understands something in the media that's watching us right now. Divine providence works in mysterious ways. 1 week ago, talking to my good friend and colleague Alex Jones, we scheduled for Alex to come on this show today at 11 o'clock. Wasn't scheduled about Charlie Kirk, wasn't scheduled what's happened last night, wasn't scheduled about this press conference. A week ago, I thought it was enough out there that Alex should come on. Alex Jones, you, maybe even more than Posobiec, and Posobiec's an expert, so you're like the dean of experts about this evil we face. Are we going to hug this out, brother? Is this what's going to, are we going to hug it out for these Antifa? Hasn't Antifa hunted you down for years and basically tried to either disrupt you or kill you, sir, or injure you?
Yes, and of course they went and knocked down the door, remember, years ago at Tucker's house, and he had to move out of D.C. So let me just be 100% clear. What I've just watched in the last 30 minutes or so is 100% accurate from you, from Posobiec, and the Breitbart writer. All of it is completely true, but there's one other big piece that gives me chills right now, and it's this. The Podesta plan from August of 2020, published in the New York Times, official Democrat war game, policy was that if Trump was able to win and they couldn't steal it, they would foment racial crises using Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and Islamic groups. And when you go to these trans rallies, these leftist rallies, upwards of half of them now, usually about a third. I've been to rallies with 100, 300, 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 in Austin, other cities. They are trans. And when they march in Austin and Dallas and places, they have M4s. And when they see me, they say, we're going to effing kill you. We have footage of this. And they talk about their days of trans rage. The last 8 mass shooters, counting this as one of those, or assassination, execution, have all been pro-trans or trans. And so Mangione carved it on the bullets. The shooter at the Catholic Mass of the kids 2 weeks ago in Minnesota did this. All of this is the same. And then the media tries to suppress it, but they're failing now. They suppressed it for 2 years. It was trans in the case of Nashville with the woman demand trans killing the kids. This is satanic. Jack's absolutely right. You go on their Discord chats and everything, but they even publish this like in magazines and the local newspapers in Portland and places. Men in dresses with guns saying, we're coming to kill you. You have governors. You have the Attorney General of Minnesota wearing trans rage shirts with knives and guns saying, we're coming to get you. You have the Democrats like Pocahontas refusing to say that they should turn down the heat. So what they do is they call for violence. Governor Newsom calls for punching people in the face. Then they have a few surrogates come out and go, oh, kumbaya. Then they have the Axelrods and others say, no, it's the Republicans that turn the temperature up. No, everyone knows the violence is all in their direction. So here's the key pieces that I'm sure were covered earlier, but I missed. So let me just tell you. They have launched the Podesta plan. Carville, Podesta, all of them, right when Trump got elected in November, said the Border Patrol and ICE are coming to kill migrants. Trump is coming to kill black people en masse. No evidence. I go, they're going to do a false flag. And I said, where are big group of blacks at? A traditional black college. 2 days ago, they shut them all down. People start calling them, obviously false flag calls, bomb threats. We're going to kill you because Charlie Kirk's a white supremacist and we're white supremacists. So by that, they make it this dialectic and this comparison. So now what I've been predicting is happening. The last piece ahead of the false flags. I believe they're going to hit a migrant demonstration, and because they've already pre-programmed it. And then they say, then they're going to have their full uprising that'll make the summer of 2020 look tame in comparison. Then they will try to have blue states secede, saying Trump's a dictator, and blue cities. They will burn the cities to the ground. They believe will crash the economy. Then they'll do a cyber attack. They've already pre-programmed that and blame Russia. They're also claiming white supremacists are going to hit power plants. There's never been any evidence of that, but they've staged provocateur actions like in Tennessee the day before the election last year. It's all been pre-programmed and scripted. And that's why people are like, black colleges, nobody's going to attack those. Well, now they've shut down saying Trump people are coming to kill them. Preposterous. And then they'll just shoot out of a parking garage, truck bomb, something like that, have a dead MAGA supporter there with paraphernalia. They'll literally blame Trump, all of his key people. It's the same MO. Within 1 hour of the Minnesota shootings, where the guy said he did work for Waltz and actually said he was going out to kill people for Waltz, then they shut the story down. They were going to do a false flag to make Waltz, according to the guy that did the shooting, look like a hero. They had the roommate within 1 hour come out and blame Trump and me by name, saying, oh, we're big fans. The shooter's a fan. I'm a fan of InfoWars and Donald Trump. We did, I think he did it for them. Literally pre-scripted, prepared, all of this. So they're getting ready for their asymmetrical destabilization, civil war. Just like the movie they produced, Civil War, is the third act of the Podesta plan. It doesn't start with the race war. It just cuts to the blue states coalition army going into D.C. and killing Trump, who only has a little bit of military and Secret Service protecting him. And then a black woman goes in, a black sergeant, and executes the Trumpian figure. This is literally all scripted out. They brag at rallies. We have clip after clip where they go, we're going to force them into violence. We're going to get violent. That when they kill a bunch of us, we're going to uprise and do all this. So they know, they talk about it on their Discords. They talk about it publicly. They talk about it on X. They have teachers, lawyers, mainly teachers, doctors, everywhere celebrating Kirk's death and now saying, here's the other people we want to kill. And of course, it's you and it's me and it's everybody else that is prominent. They believe to then finally get right-wingers to lash out violently, or they're going to stage a false flag and then blame us that we were doing this for Charlie. And the last piece was the black colleges all closing. because of bomb threats and, people mad that Charlie Kirk was killed, obviously staged. They're getting ready to hit a migrant demonstration. They're getting ready to hit a black college or a black church, something like that. And then it is off the races. I know Trump's done a soft launch for the National Guard. I'm here in D.C. Everybody says crime's down over 90%. They love it. Black people, Hispanics running up to me, running up to the National Guard. We got footage of it yesterday crying. We got footage today out at the Washington Monument of this, which is it's wild. And the people all know. I talked to the troops off camera. They said, well, it's classified, but yeah, I said, you're here at a soft launch. You're told bigger stuff's coming. And the guys go, yeah, we've been listening since we were kids. They were all listeners. The male troops, the female troops, all of them. So the globalists have a big problem because populist, conservative Christians, Catholics now are sophisticated, understand that we're up against the Soros deep state, agitprops. And so they're not going to get away with the Reichstag events here. People are very wise because of Breitbart. I mean, Breitbart led the way on the Podesta manual with the headlines,
Andrew,
Democrats plan if Trump wins to have a civil war.
Alex, hang on one second. I just want to play a clip. Look, we have hours we could show you the hate. But I want to show one that backs up what Alex is talking about, how sophisticated it is. I want to go to one of the finest engineering schools in this nation, Georgia Tech. And we have a short clip about a guy walking around Georgia Tech looking at these signs. And then, Alex, I'm going to bring you in. Let's go ahead and play it.
A day after Charlie Kirk's murder, we're here at Georgia Tech University in Atlanta, Georgia, and the first thing I see when I come to the campus is the fall of the Trump fascist regime beginning November 5th, 2025. RefuseFascism.org needs to be investigated. 2028 is way too late. Trump must go now. If you walk with me here, we have another sign. This is the scary part. The time has come for the fall of the Trump fascist regime beginning November 5th. No, in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. All over the campus, similar signs. No, in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. RefuseFascism.org, followed by a sign that we already read. This is happening all over this campus. So you got to ask yourself, when you see posters like this nonstop, what are they advocating for? Are they inciting certain events that we have seen recently?
Hours.
The time has come
we could show hours. We could show hours of this type of footage. But right there, you see the organized effort of it. And this is not some community college. It's one of the finest schools in this nation and one of the top 2 or 3 engineering schools. Alex Jones, you see right there how well thought through this is, how financed it is, and we know now the shooter was Antifa or Antifa aligned. Alex Jones.
Absolutely. Antifa and the trans is the same thing. Upwards of 30% to 40% eyeballs on their profiles and in person, wherever you are, is that. And let me tell you something. Well, it won't shock you because you live in D.C. I went and walked around for hours this morning. They're doing a good job. I even saw city sanitation pulling it down. Those refuse fascism signs are 20 feet out of the hotel on every power pole. You can see where they pull them off. You can still see the imprint of it, but there's still a lot of them. And I was talking to people at the hotel. They said they're put back up daily. Refuse fascism is funded mainly by Alexander Soros. 10 years ago, we got a secret document when an Antifa commander, who was a professor, was in jail. His brother went to take care of his animals at his house, and he found the battle documents with Alexander Soros with the commanders and the people in Maryland that were staging riots for Obama, and how they would lead the crowds into the chance that have them attack certain things. They would tell them what to do. They would have to sign off on the battle action plan. So they act like Antifa is a cellular organization, so we don't know who the head is. Alexander Soros, this is on record, is the commander of Antifa, not just here, but in Europe. They put billions into it a year. It is run by communist, Marxist professors, and then it moves down into people under them, people that work for NGOs who are the managers. And then under that is a collection of pedophiles, devil worshippers, and trans. You go do an abortion clinic protest anywhere in a big city, they show up literally in black, screaming, "We love Satan," spitting on you, attacking you, saying, "We're going to kill you, we're going to murder you." Now they show up with guns. For the general public that hasn't been around these people, and their numbers are massive. They have huge funding, and this is their main detonator. Then once they trigger the civil war, they're going to have the Islamics, the Hamas sympathizers, the Hezbollah sympathizers just go completely crazy. The good news is that I've literally been mobbed by black people. It's on feeds. We already posted. Just almost every black person. I walked into this hotel from being out there for 2 hours, And both black bellhops walk over and go, "We love you, Mr. Jones. We were just listening inside here. We love you. We love you. We love Steve Bannon. I mean, I'll go down to the hotel and show it to you." And so, and then Hispanic ladies coming over and Asian people and I was in the airport flying here, people were awake. And when I was, particularly Asian Americans, I'm just mobbed. And it's not about me, it's how popular this freedom is. So the globalists are desperate. They know their NGO money is being cut off. They know there are all these dozens of grand juries now actually open. I'm here in D.C. today. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not here just to do interviews and walk around the park and see the sights. But D.C., almost all the tents are gone. I haven't seen one tent. It looks totally clean compared to what it did. The Uber driver who was Indian, lived here 12 years, said his wife couldn't even go out to the grocery store. Now she can. He basically had tears in his eyes. So Trump is not bringing fascism. He is standing up to the blue city Soros-run areas that created the Cloward and Piven destabilization chaos that empowers the criminals, gets them ready to believe that they're above the law when the mass uprising happens.
Alex, what you've lined out, and President Trump said today about a RICO investigation, we need a whole of government. It's one thing, and I totally agree with you in D.C. about bringing the troops in. I think you just mentioned Memphis may be the next stop. We need a whole of government, and this is just not the Democratic Party. Hakeem Jeffries, Obama, they're kind of hapless chess pieces. They move around.
We need a mobilization.
We need to go to the core of. We need to go to, first off, the FBI needs to be kicking down doors today. They know where Antifa is. Just like they kick down the doors of the traditional Catholics, and they kick down the doors of the 70-year-old grandmothers praying the rosary, and they kick down the doors of the MAGA folks, and they kick down the doors of 1,000 patriots that were defending a stolen election, that were trying to change a stolen election. Just like they kicked down the doors of that, we ought to be kicking down doors on Antifa this afternoon and put them in handcuffs, and let's go roll them up and put them on trial like next week. Read them their rights and put them on trial. It is not Charlie Kirk. Understand one thing. Charlie Kirk was the best of the best. And when I mean that, not his organizational ability and all that, he was a good and decent man. Everything Charlie Kirk did was about spirituality and Christianity and young men coming to Christ and changing your life and being positive and getting married and family formation. And what he was doing in that crowd when they were talking about the transgender shooting, he put his mic down and let the guy speak. And then he's going to give you arguments and debate and information and hear you out and then debate back. Charlie Kirk was the best. He was a flower of a generation, and they shot him down like a dog, right, with a high-powered rifle because they knew that they could take us out. If they can kill Charlie Kirk and get away with it with not just some young punk living in his parents' basement, I'm talking about all of it, and I'm talking about all of it today, and including arresting some of the media types that have been covering for these people. It's time. If we're going to stop it, let's stop it. And if it's not going to be stopped, let's at least go down fighting. Alex Jones.
Steve, I 100% agree with you. You made that point before I came on. I was watching that press conference, the FBI literally jacking each other off and talking about how great they are. We don't need that. And if they could arrest thousands of innocent J6ers and grab their bank accounts and do all this stuff within hours of innocent people, I can't even keep track of it on X, other places. Literally, public people saying, kill. These are the people we should kill next. These people need to be killed next. That's not free speech. When murder's happening, you say it's an uprising and you want to kill journalists and kill fathers and sending out the FBI to harass parents that don't want transgenders raping their kids in bathrooms in Virginia. That was all unconstitutional. It is constitutional to go into a giant cult that makes the evils of the terrible Klan in the 50s, 60s, 70s doing some bad stuff. This is already on a scale way above what the Klan ever did. We need task forces to go in. This is racketeering, cut and dry. Alexander Soros needs to be arrested now. I mean, you have Ed Martin on the streets of D.C., a woman saying, I hope you die, and spitting in his face. Thank God they at least arrested her. But this is war. We are going to win. We have to win. And I'm telling you, the public is really waking up fast. But what you said earlier is so true. And this is a war. This is deliberate. And we are all Charlie Kirk. Ladies and gentlemen, they want to kill us all. They literally want to kill Christians. They want our children. They hated Charlie Kirk because he was a real Christian, because he was loving. When I call Antifa devil worshippers, folks, go look at their sites. Go out in a crowd with them, okay? Go to a Democrat rally. Okay, we send undercover to it because they attack me if I go. I don't go anymore very often. And literally, you talk to them, even women that are dressed nice say, I love Satan, I hate Jesus, I want to kill the Christians. They have gone beyond radical. It is a possession. It is a spirit, mob psychology. So when I say they're a coalition of pedophiles, devil worshippers, communists, Islamicists, they are scum. I mean, the Democratic Party has now, their foot soldiers look like you visited a lunatic asylum. And they always look like that for 20, 30 years, but it is rotting. It is just like a decaying corpse that wants to drag us down. And listen, my family's, look, I don't play victim here. I should people understand where we're at. Within hours of them killing Charlie, we started getting a ton of death threats, as we always get, but more intense. And then I didn't get home until 8 o'clock at night because I was at work, working late. I had already said to my family, I said, you need to go to another place. I've never sent my family. I lived in the same house for 11 years. I've never sent my family away. I've been swatted probably 50 times. Now the sheriff's department just shows up and says, hey, everything, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I pull up at 8 o'clock. There's a sheriff's parked across the street. I see when I turn in to my drive to go to the gate to my neighborhood, he turns lights on me, not flashers, but the spotlights. I go, here we go. I drive in, drive into my deal. Here come two more sheriff's things. And they drive by with lights shining in the yard. They were already doing that. And I said, let me guess, you got a call. And then he said, yeah. And then, of course, they'll never tell me the specifics. Later, I'll meet them at the gas station or see them. They go, yeah, they said you killed your wife and kid. That's usually the thing they do to get me swatted, that I've murdered my family. And we've had Antifa, not when I'm there, show up. We see on the camera, meth head, demon-looking people. You can't, they look like husk of humans. So I'm just telling you, folks, I'm telling you that they swatted most of the rest of my crew over and over again. And so these people are terrorists. They mean business, and people need to get prepared. People need to understand that they've got hit lists, they've got target lists, they've been swatting Steve Bannon, all this stuff. And we're warriors. We know what we signed up for, but they're only trying to get through us to get to you. And I know viewers, people understand that, but there can't be a normalcy bias of white pill. Everything's fine because Trump's in, or the black pill. Trump sold us out. We're all doomed. Trump's doing the best job he can, but even on the messaging, and I know this from people in the government. What you mentioned, why are there no more hardcore messaging about this is an Antifa scumbag? These are the globalists. We're getting the best messaging from Trump to tell people the truth so they know that this is a war. I've talked to high-level Justice Department people that Trump says, I want you all over Fox News. I want you all over Bannon. I want you all over everywhere. And then the DOJ gives them a letter and says, no, you have to go through us. And they don't give them the permission to do it. This is the crap. And I don't know what's going on at the DOJ, but I think they just want to be career people. They want to protect the agency. They want to just look good, but slow roll this because they know they'll end up like Charlie Kirk. So they've actually, a lot of them just rolled over. That's why the FBI isn't going after Antifa, because half the FBI are leftists. And the other ones know these are dangerous people. And so, you know what? If you don't want to save the country at this point, then just go home and you guys put on a dress and watch Netflix, okay? Exactly. But this is only going to get worse. Yeah. We have to stand against these people, and we are going to win. We are going to win.
It's not going to stop till you make it stop. Alex, your show, where do they try to shut you down, bankrupt you, put you in liquidation, Soros is back of it, they have failed. Where do people go for your social media? Where do they go for the InfoWars?
The Alex Jones Network on Rumble, and Alex Jones, a bunch of channels, great folks, and also at X at Real Alex Jones, and also Infowars.com/show. I've got Chase Geiser hosting today, but I've got a bunch of reports I'm filing, and it comes on at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. And Steve, thank you so much. We're in this together. This is do or die, folks. This is existential. Yep. So thank you for the support. We're at the Supreme Court right now. We're winning. I can tell you this DOJ criminal investigation of what Soros, Bloomberg, and the Democrat Paul Weiss law firm did. I'll leave it at that. And they're in a lot of trouble because we caught them red-handed, the DOJ funding everything against me, and the CIA.
Brother, thank you. And like I said, it was divine providence. We set this up a week ago. And today couldn't have been, the timing was just exquisite. So thank you so much for coming on and giving us the full Alex Jones, as only you can do it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Alex understands this at a very deep level, very sophisticated level. And here's what has to happen. We're either going to accept this, and we're going to have a bunch of tears shed. But we have to, one way we honor Charlie Kirk is get to the bottom of the apparatus that assassinated Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was the best of the best, and that's why he was targeted. That's why Charlie Kirk is not going to follow us at 12 noon today. Charlie Kirk was a good and decent man, and that's who they came after. And we can honor him and honor his memory and make it a living thing, that we use this to take down the apparatus that's well-funded, that is at the core of this anti-Americanism. Charlie Kirk represented everything in our country that is good. And they represent what we've allowed to fester and look the other way on what is at the root of what is going to destroy this nation. So you have a choice. If you're not with us, I get it. I understand that. But we're not going to tolerate it. It has to be an all-of-government approach, and we shouldn't have any more press conferences glazing each other's law enforcement. Show me what you got, boys. Let's go kick down some doors and perp walk some folks today, not tomorrow, today. You know where they are. Do you have the political will to kick down the door? Short break.
No matter what you drive, there's only one guarantee. It's gonna break down.
I had a sensor light up on my dashboard.
There was a popping noise.
The last thing I remember is just the engine cut out.
Your next breakdown could be anytime, anywhere, whether you've got the money to fix it or not.
It was a thermostat, $2,600.
Seat sensor, $1,400.
But if you've got endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a car repair again, no matter how much it cost them to cover it.
In my first year with Endurance, they covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
For Endurance to pay over $7,000 to have my vehicle repaired is phenomenal.
It was like almost a $6,000 job. If I didn't have Endurance, I would have had to pay for that or just trash the whole car and start again.
If your car's out of warranty, a transmission can easily cost you $4,000.
And an engine? Over $7,000, if you're lucky.
With Endurance, those parts are covered, plus hundreds more.
The bad camera unit, $800 to repair a bad wheel bearing, over $1,000. A new steering rack, close to $3,000. Endurance covered it fully.
From engines to water pumps, electronics to key fobs, Endurance has you covered.
Plus, you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work.
It's a totally seamless process going to any certified mechanic. They submit the claim directly to Endurance. They get paid, and I'm out the door.
You trust us to do the work, and we trust Endurance to pay us direct.
And the best part, your rate stays locked in no matter how many claims you file.
After I made my first claim to Endurance, I expected my rate to change, and it never did. Like, I have no complaints.
Endurance has been trusted by millions of Americans for nearly 2 decades.
I've had 2 claims for over $4,600. Less than 1 year after signing up, Endurance saved me over $7,000.
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, if it's under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country.
So if your ride breaks down, Endurance has your back. They'll jump your battery, tow, deliver gas, change a flat, unlock your car, and more.
Call now and we'll upgrade you to a full year of Elite benefits free, a $2,000 value.
Endurance just gives me that peace of mind, so I do know that every time I'm on the road, I'm covered.
So, who's gonna pay for your next breakdown? You?
Or Endurance.
Endurance saves drivers thousands, and now you can save even more. Right now, you can get $300 off any plan, plus a year of Elite benefits, a $2,000 value free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. But you have to act now.
Remember, out of warranty doesn't mean out of options. Call Endurance and see how much you can save.
Call 1-833-496-5095 for a free quote. That's 1-833-496-5095.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
There is an ultra-right MAGA contingent in this country that wants to overthrow the U.S. government.
It is a danger to our democracy. It is a danger to our way of life.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
The extremists that we're dealing with every single day, we've got to kill and confront that movement.
Clearly, this is a literally call to arms.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore.
I see this as a party, a MAGA party that
no longer is confident that they can win elections with votes. And so now they're seeking to enact their political will through violence.
This is literally what conservative white folks do when they don't get their way. They turn violent.
Today's GOP is no longer a political movement. It is a fascist movement.
And this is why it could be more dangerous than 1860 or the 1930s.
Clearly, this is a literally call to arms.
Maybe now it is all about the violence. It all is about an insurrection. It all is, in his mind, about a civil war.
It feels like we are not just at the brink of a civil war, but that one has already begun.
The fact that the base is getting smaller, it makes it more dangerous in a lot of ways, because those are the people who are willing to do things like take up arms and press the questions and tactics that lead to civil war.
This is someone who held that office, who is basically saying to Americans there should be civil war.
Look at what he's doing last night, as you know, that more or less salutes that are either QAnon or almost look like Nazism.
You saw the rally in Ohio the other night. Trump is there ranting and raving for more than an hour, and you have these rows of young men with their arms raised.
These crazed, deranged folks who want to impart evil in every facet of our society.
Yes, he deserves to die, and I hope he burns in hell. And I really don't want to hear any moral superiority from the people who were just laughing about undocumented immigrants getting eaten up by alligators. Okay. I'm a
God bless America.
I have about as much sympathy for Charlie Kirk right now as I do for all those farmers across the country who want socialist handouts from the government right now. This is a man who hated the LGBTQ community, who hated women's rights, who hated democracy, who thought that he was a big man because he went to college campuses and debated young college students and thought he proved how tough he was with his words that he studied ahead of time. What a piece of garbage. This is what happens. I'm curious if we're going to want to take guns away now from who will inevitably be the white man who shot and killed him. Bye, Charlie.
I heard someone got shot today. I had a tummy ache this morning. Stay alive out there.
And if you look at it for real, Charlie would have wanted it this way. He was so for guns, so for the violence, that he died by one. Isn't that beautiful? Rest in peace, Charlie.
His last words were about to be hella racist, which is no surprise because he's literally a Nazi, right? And yes, Nazis have children and families, right? But Nazis also get shot in the neck.
Okay. Jim Rickards joins us. Jim, you understand geopolitics, capital markets, national security. You've been in and out of working with the intelligence guys. How are we going to make this stop? You've got some of the most sophisticated financiers in the world in back of this. This thing takes a lot of money. You have the source money, but you have a lot of other money too. Give me Jim Rickards' breakdown of the problem and Jim Rickards' breakdown of the solution.
Absolutely, Stephen. Just want to start out with on Charlie Kirk himself. I didn't know him personally. I've listened to 100 tributes. What struck me is that no one had a bad word to say about Charlie Kirk. Everyone who knew him, his friends, his circles, associates, not one bad word. There are a lot of people like I admire and respect. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay, but a little rough around the edges, whatever. That was not true of Charlie Kirk. He was absolutely, sincere, very pure religiously, ethically, et cetera. So that's the first thing that struck me. And I recently spent most of the month of February in India, and one of the places in Delhi I went was the place where Gandhi was assassinated. And I had a very eerie feeling because I've seen the movie Gandhi a few times, and it was filmed in the same place. So I had this sense of deja vu that came over me. And when I heard about Charlie Kirk, that was the first thing I thought of. I said, oh, so if you preach peace and love, that's what you teach and that's your message, and you hold yourself open to the public, they kill you. And that's what happened. That's what happened then, and that's what just happened to Charlie Kirk. Now, with regard to your point, and you mentioned money, absolutely. Money, that's what I do. I do financial warfare, financial counterintelligence, did it for 10 years at the CIA, do it privately, et cetera. I guess, philosophically, I'm a pragmatist. That's the quintessential American philosophy, not a big ideological filter. A pragmatist says what works. What works, what's effective. I don't see a big difference right now between Pam Bondi and Merrick Garland. Maybe Merrick Garland was a little more effective, actually. And I know the rhetoric's different, the philosophy's different, the people are different. I get that. But if you're result-oriented, it's hard to see much difference. And you said it earlier, no perp walks, no doors being broken down. What's the holdup? I mean, they have plenty of information on all these people. But money is the best way to trace it. It is traceable unless you're dealing in physical bullion. But even I've done work with Bitcoin and blockchain, and with the right forensics, that's a lot more vulnerable than people realize. Physical gold is different, but yeah, there are wires back and forth. There are shell companies back and forth. They've deconstructed the entire Hunter Biden network, and not much came of it. So that's a very good place to start. You can freeze it, interdict it, trace it to the source, arrest the individuals. Somebody's paying for this, and we have a pretty good idea who it is. But okay, let's do the forensics. Let's get to the bottom of it. Look,
given your understanding of the intelligence apparatus and the security apparatus and the legal apparatus of the federal government, if you said today, let's get everybody in the room, we're going to do a whole of government focus on taking down Antifa, taking down the transgender aspects of Antifa, and everybody that finances them. Tell me, who would you bring in? And is this doable? Do we have the resources and the apparatus, the legal structure, the apparatus, the people, the methods to do this? If we just say today, okay, stop. We're going to stop this before it destroys the country. Whole of government, like they do a whole of government approach on artificial intelligence. Can this be done, Jim Rickards?
It could absolutely be done, and we know that because it's been done against us. The FBI, you pointed earlier, grandmothers praying the rosary at the Capitol. They found them. They tracked them down. Facial recognition software. And the NSA, National Security Agency, has computer capability, AI capability, monitoring, signals intercept, et cetera, that is beyond comprehension, and they have all the files on that. They have huge, immeasurably large databases. You just have to tap into it. And to the extent that things like the Patriot Act have been, used to kind of, whittle down the Fourth Amendment. I'm all for the Fourth Amendment, but these tools have been used against MAGA. They've been used against Trump, the Trump family, his supporters, et cetera. Just take the same tool. So the short answer is it can be done. We know it can be done because it has been done against MAGA. Now you just need to turn it around, turn the radars, turn the intercepts, turn the skills around. Now you still have to have people. You have to have the right expert. Bring them in. They're out there. Bring in some of the retired folks. Bring in people who were pre John Brennan. When I worked at the CIA, there was a certain turnover in directors. I think I worked for 4 or 5 directors, but I basically disengaged around the time John Brennan came in. But I know who he is certainly, and saw what he did to the CIA. So you've got to just, by the way, keep firing people. You got to get out the rut and bring in the talent. And I would just keep firing people. But the short answer is it can be done. It's actually not that hard.
Given the geopolitical threats that we have, obviously, given that this is an internal threat that has many, I think, international financiers of it. But would this be, if Rickards, if you were in charge, would this be a higher priority to you, understanding all the geopolitical threats we have, and we got a battle group off of Venezuela right now? What would your priorities be of this internal threat to the country versus obviously the external enemies that we have?
This would be number one, because the internal threat is always more dangerous than the external threat. We know who the external enemies are, starting with China, Iran, others. Doesn't mean you go fight wars with everybody, but we're geared up for that. We have, we need to improve the military. But these are I'm not saying these things can wait. I'm just saying that they're pretty well understood, and the parameters are set, and we have resources. The internal threat is always the greatest threat. The fifth column, you've seen it in the Bolshevik Revolution, the French Revolution. Nobody invaded France during the French Revolution. They did it to themselves. Nobody invaded Russia during the Bolshevik Revolution. They did it to themselves. So that same thing in the Spanish Civil War. So the internal threat would be my number one priority, because it is the most dangerous, and it's at least in the short run, it's the hardest to track down. But this is doable. I don't want to discourage anyone from thinking you can't do this, but the question is, are you going to? But we have the resources.
We've got a lot on geopolitical to get to you. I'm going to get you back, if not tomorrow, then early next week. Bolsonaro, 27-year sentence. But I want people to get access to and to use as a tool strategic intelligence. Where do they go right now, Jim, to find out this great newsletter you put out and other publications you put out?
Thanks, Steve. We have a landing page at rickardswarroom.com. It's rickardswarroom.com. You go there, you can subscribe to Strategic Intelligence. That's our flagship newsletter. And what we specialize in, because we cover current events, but our specialty is predictive analytics. We explain to you what's going to happen next, and we explain why. So that ability to forecast, which is our track record, is second to none. That's really what we devote ourselves to. So it's at rickardswarroom.com.
This is why Jim Rickards is so famous, because of this, the ability to kind of see down the range. And by the way, we throw in a free book, Money GPT, which is artificial intelligence and money. And remember, I came to Jim Rickards, his teaching and his knowledge through Currency Wars, which is still one of the best books I've ever read. It really gave me a whole new opening. And hey, I had gone to Harvard Business School and worked at Goldman Sachs. And here I am being taught by Rickards decades later and learning what I didn't learn there. rickardswarroom.com. It gets you access to Strategic Intelligence, his other newsletters, and he throws in a free book. Jim, thank you so much. I got Bolsonaro. I got a whole Belarus and Russia doing joint operations. We got an amphibious battle group off of Venezuela. Bolsonaro just got 27 years in prison, folks, last night after we had the Brazilians on. Moments afterwards, they sentenced him to 20. They did it quickly. I think they were afraid that the U.S. was going to drop something on him. Jim, honored to have you on here as always. Look forward to having you back early next week.
Thanks.
Jim Rickards. Charlie Kirk was a good and decent man. Remember that. Always and everywhere. Remember that. He was the best of the best. Why? He did it in a gentle way. He did it in a gentlemanly way. He did it in a classy way. And they shot him down like a dog. Remember that.
We rejoice when there's no more. Let's take down the CCP.
What's up, America? The folks sitting with me here today are real-life mechanics. We're here to get to the bottom of why car repairs are so expensive and why CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company. Let's get to it. How long you been a mechanic?
I've been doing this for about 30 years. Every day's a different experience. Every day's a different adventure. I like to make sure everybody's happy, the customer's happy, the car's done right.
So why are vehicles out of warranty more likely to break down?
The manufacturers are very smart. They designed these cars with an end of life. It will fail as the warranty expires. Say over 60,000 miles, it'll start breaking down.
They're going to break down, definitely. Just a matter of when.
When somebody has CarShield, what's the experience when they come to you?
You drop off your car, we verify your concern, we notify CarShield, usually get an instant approval, put you in a rental car, and get you back on the road as quick as possible. I show them what it would cost if they didn't have CarShield versus if they did, and they can't believe how many thousands of dollars they're saving on this repair and how easy it went through, and the deductible is pretty much all they have to worry about.
How has being a mechanic changed since you guys started?
Most challenging parts about being a mechanic is keeping up with technology these days. That's the hardest part. As these new cars come out, it's new software, new tooling, is a constant evolution.
Technology has totally changed from just the basic, everybody could fix a car 30 years ago, to today. You need so much education, background, computer knowledge.
And there you have it. No other company protects drivers like CarShield. The bottom line is, if you're driving an out-of-warranty car, you could be putting yourself at risk of paying thousands for car repairs. Call CarShield before a breakdown happens.
Get covered repairs paid. Call CarShield now for your free quote and to lock in your rate with their price lock guarantee. Call now. Call 800-202-9188. 800-202-9188. 800-202-9188.
Hello, my friend. Pat Boone here. You know our country's under financial assault like never before. Our government has put us $34 trillion in debt. The interest alone's more than we spend on military defense. And what's worse, other countries no longer believe the U.S. is a safe place to invest. There's a growing international movement to dump U.S. dollars at a record pace. Some economists say this may signal the end of the dollar. Now, these countries are instead buying gold, and I'm suggesting you do the same. My friends at Swiss America have been helping Americans like you and me for over 40 years to buy physical gold and silver for delivery to our homes or held in our IRAs. I've trusted Swiss America for nearly 25 years now, and you can trust them too. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these troubling times.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Utah does have the death penalty, has the death penalty by firing squad. Remember Gary Gilmore? Some of the boomers, not that we have very much of a boomer audience, some of the boomers might remember Gary Gilmore back in the 70s. Remember Gary Gilmore? Where did Gary Gilmore commit his crimes? Wait for it, Provo, Utah. God works in mysterious ways. So the death penalty is still in Utah and by firing squad. Remember, Gary Gilmore asked for it. Somebody's got to be, this is why I demand everybody that comes to work for us, watch 12 O'Clock High. What is about 12 O'Clock High about working together? But the most powerful scenes in any movie in Hollywood, different than any other war film ever made, is Gregory Peck. Remember, Gregory Peck's kind of a Charlie Kirk type. A good and decent man. He plays a good and decent man in this movie as a general in the Army Air Corps in the early days of World War II. But the squadron is not meeting its objective, which is precision bombing, daylight precision bombing over the industrial sites in France at first, Belgium, and then eventually Germany. And we're doing precision daylight bombing so we don't kill civilians. Always remember that. That's the American way. The British are going at night with mass bombing. And the squadron's all screwed up because he understands the leader he replaces is a super good guy and loves his crews and protects his young men, these young 19, 20, 21-year-old pilots and bombardiers and navigators. They're just literally 90-day wonders because America didn't have a big military. They literally trained in 90 days, and then they go and they get another 6 months of training, very little training. And Gregory Peck walks in there and says, we have a problem. And here's the problem. Too many of you guys, all you guys are thinking about is going home and living and going back to your families and your loved ones. Hey, guess what? We're not going to make progress until you internalize one thing. You're already dead. There's never been a colder scene in any movie than that. To tell these great young men, you're dead. And you're dead for a reason. If we're going to win this war, we got to kind of thwart the Germans right now. And you are sacrificed. Yes, you're sacrificed. And you're going to have to embrace it. And you're going to have to get over it. And you're going to have to stop thinking of home. And you're going to stop thinking of your friends. And in fact, even your buddies, we're going to change roommates because people are too close. People are getting out of formation and trying to save the other aircraft that get shot down. That's not what we do here. We stay in formation and we deliver payloads. Somebody has to step up here and say, this has to stop, and this is the actions that we're going to take to stop it. And force the government to do a whole-of-government approach and destroy this evil that we've allowed to metastasize. And particularly, and this is why Charlie Kirk is such a hero. Where is it metastasized the most? In colleges and universities. with these professors and these administrators and all the way down into education. That's why let's call it what it is. It hates America. It hates the values of the Judeo-Christian West and Christendom. And it now needs to have a blowtorch put on it. So let's kick down some doors today and start arresting people. Let's play real quickly. Let's play from. First off, let me go to Tej. I got him up. Tej going to join me. Tej, you got to be quick. I'm teeing you up for this afternoon. You've seen this before. You've seen Antifa up close and personal. And where did you see him up close and personal, Tej, when you were doing security?
Yeah, 2015, we're doing security for a conservative influencer, and we did a nationwide tour of the colleges, and UC Davis in California, Antifa showed up and they started breaking windows and beating people up, and we actually canceled the event that night. And then a couple weeks later, we're up in University of Seattle in Washington, and Antifa showed up in big numbers, and the SWAT team was there. The campus police was there. There was a stabbing that night. There was a shooting that night. And we actually, when we left campus, we had to get escorted off campus by the Seattle SWAT team. And they had like 6 Suburbans and a bunch of pickup trucks. And they escorted us like 10 miles off campus. And there was signs on the overpasses saying they wanted to kill us, and the Antifa basically they were running the town, and they're they're also running Portland. I don't know if you remember during Trump's first term, they were attacking it was some kind of federal building in Portland, and it was relentless attacks night after night. They were shining high-powered lasers into federal agents' eyes, and nothing was being done about it. And back then, we're calling for Antifa to be labeled as a domestic terrorist group. Yeah. Over and over. And actually, I went on a couple other podcasts and I talked about Antifa, and I talked about they're actually like a full-on organized terrorist organization. And, it's for political gain. It's for political change. It's the textbook.
Right now, President Trump has said the other day in Portland, Oregon right now, every night they're rioting. Even President Trump said the other day, we said, hey, nobody's informed me of this, but that looks terrible. No one had informed him of that. Not like he's got more than enough to do trying to bring world peace, save the economy, restructure the world's trading relationships. The man's got a couple, 3 things in his inbox. Maybe somebody, I don't know, in the Justice Department, the FBI, can tell him what's going on here. First step you should do today is declare Antifa a domestic terrorist organization and immediately go shut down Portland or what they're doing in Portland. We know where they are. Kick down the doors and let's arrest 1,000 of them over the weekend. Just like they arrested 1,000. They had the biggest thing in the world to go get the J6ers that were just trying to sit there and talk about a stolen election. That was stolen.
That's right.
Tej, real quickly, how they get to Warpath? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I tell you, hold it. Hold it till tonight. Tej Gill's going to join me at 5 o'clock. Where do they go? Warpath.coffee?
Warpath.coffee. That's the website. And then my personal is Tej Frog.
Tej Frog. We'll see you at 5. You're going to give us the breakdown. Hopefully there'll be some arrest. Let's start with the guy's roommate. No, Governor. I think he had some accessories here. And I want to correct Jack Posobiec. And by the way, we're going to toss right now to the Charlie Kirk Show, the great team of Andrew, Tyler, and Jack from Charlie Kirk's studio with Turning Point. Fantastic guys I'm talking to. I disagree with one thing, Jack. The father knew he's an accessory. That's why he turned him in. It's not some great Christian good. He raised a demon. He raised a demon. He knew they were going to close in and eventually get the kid. And if he hadn't turned him in, he was going to be arrested. Charlie Kirk Show is next. We are back in the War Room, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
I talk to a lot of young people on campuses, at our events, on my radio show, podcast, and social media. Said differently, I visit college campuses so you don't have to. We're talking to so many voters that know it is time for change.